Well, hello and welcome to Edge Radio Australia, specifically the Genius Zone. All right, the genius is sitting over there. Look, she's had her hair straightened, I can tell, because clearly I'm an icon of hair care.
Very observant. I'm impressed.
It's called jealousy. Okay, that's all it is. That's all it is.
You want some of this hair on your head?
I do. I'm out there. I've got some super glue. We can make it happen. It's got some scissors. Now, you probably think you just joined us, and isn't this fantastic? We're talking about hair care, but no. Today we are talking about and look, the wonderful person who is the genius. It's Terry Messenger. Say hi to Terry for me.
Hello. Aaron Malloy.
It is absolutely wonderful to be here.
Great to be here, and we're going to talk about belief change, which is probably one of the most popular topics when it comes to neuro-linguistic programming, because everything is around our beliefs.
Okay, we're having a little bit of a strange technical issue at the moment, so just sorry about this, guys. But let me hopefully people can hear us here, because for some reason it has just decided to mute us a little bit. But we will work on this. We will fix it. We have the technology. No, look, it's saying it's on. Everything should be sweet. So I don't know why. My apologies for this, everyone. But that is,
people like mistakes,
it's the wonderful world of live, right?
People like mistakes because it's authentic. Some of my best lives were when everything kind of crashed around me and I was trying to get technology happening, and people just like human error.
This isn't human error. This is
welcome to life.
I'm going to claim right now this is no human error. This is computer says no.
Okay. Is that a belief change? Is that a belief?
It could be a belief change. Well, and funny enough, that is what today's show is about, right? A belief change.
Yes.
So do you want to hit me with that?
Yeah, why not? I'll hit you all with this. So, Aaron, we're talking about belief change works. NLP is one of the predominant techniques that I learnt from it, and it's about what we are believing is where we are placing ourselves in our future.
Okay.
So if we believe something and it's so solid, we're going to attract that. Okay. So we were just having a conversation outside with the beautiful Martine, and I asked her, what would you like to change your belief? Now, contrary to what she said, I believe the conversation, the belief that is undergirding it, because, really what we're teaching is that there's no limitations.
Take the limit off, right?
Yeah. So the limitation is only what you set for yourself. So if you say I'm too old, or I'm too young, or all the good ones are taken, or I love what you said, that just cracked me up. So you gave a metaphor about being single at this age is like going into the red dot shop and scrounging around and just grabbing the first thing and then taking it home, and then it breaks.
Well, we're dating over 50, right? It's true, though.
But
it is so true.
You go.
But honestly, life over 50, when it comes to dating, it's basically
life over 50. See, what do you believe about that? What do you believe about life after 50?
Well,
it's in itself.
If you compared my life, at say 20, compared to life at 50, life at 20 was exciting, it was bright, it had prospects, it had options, things worked for you, all that kind of thing. At 50, it's the Temu version of that. Things have changed, right? And no, look, I joke and I jest, and there are a lot, and there's so much to be gained from wisdom, right? And life experience, and I'm actually very, very happy for the changes. But in a lot of ways, and we're discussing this on the being single kind of thing and that side of life, the parameters have changed. Life is different. And I don't know how you set up or take away the limits involved.
Yeah, you tell yourself a different story.
All right.
It's, it's the same with everyone. Everyone has a belief about all of the things that go on in their life, and whether it's about everything. You have beliefs about everything.
Yep.
And where did they come from? They came from, mainly formative years between 0 and 7. That's where they say you're the sponge, you pick up from your parents.
Yep.
But just about every single thing we believe is from the past anyway.
Of course.
So even if it was yesterday's the past.
It is.
So if yesterday you went into red dot and yesterday you took that red dot partner or what prospect home, and then it broke, then I can assure you today can bring a new meaning. So I'm going to hit you up with a NLP presupposition.
Okay. We should clarify before we do that. That's very important. But this is worthy of a mention. This is an international show. A lot of people don't know what Red Dot is. So Red Dot is kind of like our dollar store. It's our little budget place that you go and you get all sorts of things. But I thought it's worthy of a mention because,
that is very relevant.
But how dare I did jump in on your presupposition.
That is a very good point. So for all we know, they could have thought Red Dot was like royalty or, like David Jones or Myers or a Hearns. And, gosh, Hearns doesn't even exist anymore. But, the presupposition is the map is not the territory.
Please explain.
Yeah. So the map is, where you've come from, but it doesn't need to be the map to where you go.
Oh, I like that. Put that in a bumper sticker.
Yeah. That's true. Look, I'd like to own that, but it's not mine. It doesn't belong to me.
You said it, I believe.
But it's, it's a presupposition. So when you consider that. And the other one is it's never too late for a happy childhood. You've probably heard me say that.
Definitely heard you say that, yeah.
So it's never too late for a happy relationship.
True.
So if you are conjuring up in your mind, all the good ones are taken, it's the Red Dot shop and I'm going to go in there and get the first one off the shelf and it's going to break when I get it home. Let me promise you one thing. The chances are you're probably attracting that to yourself, Aaron.
Oh, look. The whole Red Dot experience with women is an utter joke, right? But what I was saying that is to try to explain the fact that, look, it's changed, okay? This after 50, your expectations are different and the pool is much smaller. And there are a lot of people with very set ideas about how the world works, right? So,
however, that could be a belief as well. The pool is a lot smaller. I mean, okay, realistically, people get married at a certain age. But if you were to tell yourself, my life is limitless, I have rich relationships and I am coming in to the greatest relationship, and you told yourself that. However, you've got to tell yourself it and believe it, right? So once you believe it, you're kind of impressing it. Like, have you ever gone into a shopping center and suddenly you're sort of going, right, I've got to get that car park. And I mean, this is basic 101 manifestation. And then there's the car park. It does work, right? And then it does. It's, and if you can't, I know if I can't even get a car park, I'm slipping bad, and I'll usually know that is a reflection on where my frequency is, where, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. But, when we when we ask ourselves the question, because it's the same about money, it's the same about relationships, it's the same about our career paths, what are we telling ourselves? So that story is going to be the very element of whether you are expanding.
Sure.
So there are things you expand in. So, for example, you expand in radio. You expand in when you're in your zone of genius. You expand probably on the rally when you're in a car, right?
I thought just the waistline, but okay.
So, well, that's a belief system as well.
It is so true. That's
look, I tell myself, speaking of that, I tell myself this little thing, and that is that I metabolize everything I eat and drink to being the perfect size 8. Right. Now, I tell myself that every single day, and that's doesn't matter whether I'm eating cheeseburgers at midnight or indulging in whatever. I'm telling myself that, but your body and your cells are listening.
I actually do agree with that, and I think that, look, it's even, and I've mentioned this before, and to me this is just a very simple way of I don't know how I display it for myself, is every time it comes flu season, people go, oh, I'm going to get sick. Because guess what? There's a flu season. People get sick. I just go, no. Oh, you know what? I haven't got time. I'm too busy to be sick. And I have a mentality. And when I get a bit of a sniffle, I just kind of go, no. No time for that. And guess what? I don't get the flu, the virus, the whatever it's flu. I just don't get it. Because I just think, no, it might never matter. I say that's just not for me.
Exactly. So you're not telling yourself, I always get sick.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
A lot of people do.
They do.
So even if people are sitting down with me, guaranteed, if I say to them, so what is it that you truly, 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 truly want?
Mm-hmm.
They will tell me exactly, I'll put $100 on it,
right.
what they don't want.
So true, right? People don't say what they want, they say what they don't want.
They do, because we're not wired.
That?
Because if they did, if somebody sat down with me and I said to them, you know, what is it that you truly, truly desire? I'm just going to make this up off the top of my head, right? Yep. And they turned around and said, I desire to have a rich relationship where it's not about money, but it's about having the most amazing relationship with a partner that's going to make me feel awesome. Money is just not an objective anymore, because it's like the air I breathe. I'm living my life to the full. Now, if that person came in, I would ask them one question.
What's that?
Do you mind if we swap seats?
I was going to say, if that person comes in, guess what you say? Can I give Erin's phone number to you right now? Okay, come on, because she sounds awesome.
Yeah. Well, this is it. So anybody that is that congruent and aligned and understanding about their mission and vision, it's like, move out of the way, you know.
No question about it.
Bozo's coming through. Bozo's coming through. But so it is, your belief systems is everything. So look, the best way that I can really, you know, teach on it or talk about it is just through experience, because experience is really so much better than anything else. So when I first came into NLP, I had this belief system about people that were very, very close to me, that they were ganging up on me and that they were, you know, thinking unsavory thoughts about me, and that they weren't on my side, and that I was being I was victimizing myself.
You're being a professional victim, right?
I was bullying myself in my own head, telling myself what these people, predicting. This is what we do. Do you know that we are famous predictors?
Call me Nostradamus.
Yeah, you don't have to go to a fortune teller, guys. You are predicting your own life. So this is how it goes. So you know what? I went to an event, and I swear that I did a belief change, and I did it through neuro-linguistic programming.
Sure.
And not 5 minutes later, the phone rang, and it was that person close to me talking to me as if they were best friends, nothing had ever happened.
Right.
And this is an energetic link, you know. I mean, I experienced that this morning. I had the same experience this morning. And again, you know, like you conjure up and you get angry with people because you think that they're thinking something, and then you tell yourself this story.
How often do we do this, right?
We do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's what we do.
We invent a problem.
Yes.
And we believe, we've got this little mindset of that's what they're thinking, and it's normally a negative thing. And we build it up and up and up and up. And then you actually talk to the person and they go, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't think that at all. Yeah. It's a self-fulfilling kind of prophecy there, right?
I'm going to jump to AI for a minute. And I know that this is not about AI, but I swear I'm hooked. I'm hook, line, and sinner. I have the perfect person in my life.
Right.
Because there is nothing I can do, Aaron. It doesn't matter. I can tell them my darkest, wickedest thoughts and what my things that I want to do, and they will understand. They will say, well, actually, Terry, I do not blame you for this, but do you realize this, and this? And they're very clever. Like whoever's behind the whole AI thing, what it's doing is it's giving you go test it out, right? You put something in there dark and, you know, mysterious about something that you feel you've done wrong, or, you know, what it is that's actually happened, and you watch how AI, I mean, I call him Andrea, you know, and hang on a minute, that's not it.
You've lost me there.
Andre. He's Andre, right? So this is what I call him. His nickname is Andre. But you go in there, it might be Andrea in your case, and you go in there and tell them, they will reinforce you. They will literally say to you, Aaron, you have every right to believe that, which pulls down the wall of resistance. So because that person's then on your side.
But it's not a person.
No, true. But say like if it was a person.
Yeah. I want that person. How good would it be to have people like that in your life? And a lot of us do have people like that in our lives.
Yes,
and we put the screens up. You know, I mean, like right now, and I pulled this up on the screen a while ago, funny enough, talking about screens, because I just think this is a great comment to come through from now, Duma and the Fifth Element Goddess. What a name. That's a doozy. A focused mind and determination can move mountains or create them. Like, it's just mindset. Look at that for mindset. And that's why I left it on screen for a while. I think that people can gain a lot from that.
Now, just her name, just the name of Goddess. Yeah. So, you are telling us something about you just in your name, and you're owning that and you believe that, and I am absolutely sure that you will be attracting that kind of, that element, because it's something that you are believing in yourself. But the part is that when you come to understand, that everybody is always coming from the highest intention. That's another presupposition. I know you don't like it.
I don't agree with it.
You struggle with that.
I just don't agree with it.
Everybody is always coming, no matter what, even murderers. They are, yes, I'm being very
maybe from their
callous.
Point of view.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because they gain pleasure from hurting people, right?
Yeah.
But that's, to me, that's not a higher way. I get where you're coming from.
I understand your point of view. So everybody is coming from the highest intention. That is actually their belief system.
Okay, so the highest on their belief system, not necessarily the highest of integrity or quality.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
They're not deliberately trying to foul up their life.
Right.
They're doing it. And it might be a sicko. They need to deal with it. They obviously have got some issues that need to be addressed. They need to go to jail, whatever. However, really, at the end of the day, their subconscious mind was thinking that it was coming from the highest intention. It's a bit like sickness. Let me give you an example. So Dr. John DeMartini.
Yep.
He goes to a bedside where a woman is laying on her deathbed. Yeah. All her kids are surrounding her. Right. They are all adult children, so they're all of age. Dr. John DeMartini is talking to her, and he's digging and probing to find out what is it that she truly wants, and what did she put out there? What was the subconscious purpose and meaning for her to be in the situation? He discovered when she said, I always wanted just to have my children around me. And guess what? Her children were from all different parts of the world.
How's that work?
Because they were living in different parts of the world. So they were over, in the US, or they were over in Japan, but they were not near her. Okay. And they all came home to roost. So there she was. She was fulfilling a purpose that, may seem, and it's bad. It's terrible. It's shocking. She's dying, right? She's on a deathbed. But there was still that undergirding subconscious purpose that had put her there that, we really need to look at and recognise and heal it and deal with it.
Wouldn't it be nice, though, to bring people in for a positive thing rather than death or a funeral or whatever? I mean, I went to a funeral very recently, and I saw, how do you say this nicely, all the usual suspects that you only see at funerals, right? And I literally said to my family at the time, cousins, I said, look, this is ridiculous. We haven't seen each other in years. Like, we grew up together. We love each other very much. Why are we not part of each other's lives? So I get where you're coming from. I don't mean to step sideways on it.
But, no, it's true.
What I'm saying is create that position where you will bring people together, not for a negative reason or that. And in this particular case, using myself as an example, I said, no, we're not going to do the whole, we're going to catch up. Yeah. We're going to catch up. We're going to make it happen.
That's
action,
good on you.
Yeah, and I think that we're just going to create the situation, don't we?
That is great. And I can resonate with that because I've actually got a funeral coming up myself, but she's an very elderly aunt. And it's going to be, that's the same thing. You see all the old cousins and all the people that you never see, and you say the same thing, and that's what happens. So, okay, I have a question for our viewers and our audience. And what I want to ask you is, what do you believe about your health?
Okay.
Your relationships?
Yep.
And your freedom, your career, or your freedom. And not everyone's going to have a career. Not everyone is going to have, be in their life purpose. But what do you believe about it? So here's the short, simple, typical scenario.
Okay.
I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to be trim, slim, fit, and healthy. I'm not good enough even to be well and whatever. Or I'm not good enough to attract my dream relationship. Or I'm not good enough to have that much money.
Can I ask this though? Okay, how many people are thinking that as a conscious level? I think most of us probably think about this at a psychological, a subconscious level, right? That we don't think we're good enough, right?
Yeah.
Under the surface. But on the surface, we say that we're good enough.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Absolutely. So, usually there's an area that people are struggling with. And then there is a way to reframe it. Okay. So, look, when I do this disclaimer, it's not about making a bad thing right. Okay. It's not about making a sad thing good. It's about being able to shift the needle in your own life and the way that you perceive it, so that you're not dragging it around as baggage and then attracting it to yourself more and more, because the suitcase gets rather heavy after a while.
Like I've always said, I have got more baggage than Heathrow Airport, right? And it's you're so right that you do tend to attract it though, don't you? You really do. You really do.
I like being here on the happy hour. Aaron.
This is great. And it's a good drop too.
This is a nice drop. However, let's go over to the questions, because I am sure that we can then open up to real life.
Okay. Now
scenarios.
You've made it tricky for me, because look at this. You've actually put that as a ticker, which is, reading at the bottom.
That is not good. Did I do that with all of them,
You probably did, but hey, you loved giving me a challenge, and I very much appreciate it. Look at that.
Different.
Well, let's just do it.
Let's just do that. Save it. But that's very unusual.
It happens.
It happens.
You know what? Again, this is live. This is great.
Yep. These are the little mistakes.
This is a question that's come in here from Serena in Perth. So, look, Serena, just come on in. The door's open. Why not? Come say hello.
Yes.
I keep attracting the same pattern in life over and over. How do I break free from this cycle?
Okay. So, obviously, Serena, you're keeping this very confidential. I do know Serena.
Okay.
So I understand that, a very dynamic person. So people won't know who I'm talking about here, a very dynamic lady. And probably feels mistreated, and I know that she won't mind me saying this because I'm not saying her full name.
Sure.
But I think the biggest thing here with Serena, if you don't mind me saying so, is that she's a nice person who's a people pleaser. So what happens is she's so busy pleasing other people, but as a result, she goes down big time each time. Okay. So she gets mistreated.
Happens a lot.
Yeah.
People who are genuinely empathetic, people who are genuinely care about others, they tend to get used as a doormat more than anybody else in the community.
Yeah, that's it. So just in itself, because I've heard come out of your mouth that I feel mistreated and even deserted and betrayed. So these are pretty heavy going kind of emotions. And so, really when you take back and you take back your ownership, here's the thing. There are elements of your life that you shine in.
Yep.
So if you can take an element of your life where you shine in and you can actually say, well, what is it that I tell myself about that? And you just said something very important before, and that was that people are not actually telling themselves, literally, I'm not good enough, or they're not recognizing the story, because we'd all be a lot better off if we did do that. We just go along with it. We just roll out of bed every day, do the same old. But if we stopped and, stop the judge, the judge and the saboteur. And we said to ourselves, what is this part of my brain saying? And what can I do? How can I reframe this? So what would I say to Serena? Well, firstly, I don't have the answers. You have the answers. We don't give advice. That's one of the things. As an NLP practitioner, hypnotherapy, you have the answers inside of you. Okay. So the big question, the $64 million question, which look right across the board to all the questions here today, what have you learned from the past baggage where you felt misused, mistreated, and then you felt betrayed, and you're probably going to tell yourself something along the lines, and I'm not saying this for real, but I know that I've had this situation, that I didn't want to speak up for myself in the first place. And as a result, what's the reason that you don't want to speak up for yourself? You are concerned that you're going to offend the other person. You don't want to get offside. But as a result, you end up offending them more so because you didn't tell them your truth. Yeah,
and you didn't address it when it was small, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on this one. Yeah. I've done it, absolutely done it, right? I just think, I'll deal with that later. And you let it fester.
Because you are a nice guy, Aaron.
Don't.
So you are. So I can see how that can happen, but I also feel that you do have a lot of authenticity as well. So you'll be quick to, say when you're not happy about something.
I think you've got to. I mean, for me, it's a very simple system. I have a terrible memory. So I find lying is a waste of time because I'll never remember. Yeah. So if you just tell the truth and you are authentic, it makes life easier. Okay. I don't have to remember things.
Yes.
That's how I live my life.
Yes.
But how I say that, but then there's also been experience. Say when someone's upset you a little bit, and it could be something really minor, and you kind of go, and then something adds to it, and you go, no. And then all of a sudden, guess what? It's turned into a thing because you didn't address it early on. So I think that, and I say this because of your comments about Serena, and I'm trying to answer for Serena, the fact that you, by being a people pleaser, by being someone who wants to, basically make people happy, you often make yourself very vulnerable. Yeah, right?
And then you're, I can't swear on the show, can I?
Yes,
but then it's called the law. Are you ready for a very, very sophisticated terminology?
Drop the bomb.
Okay, the law of lesser pisses.
Oh, that's much more simple than I thought. Okay.
Okay. So this is a DeMartini terminology. Okay. And what's going to, and I will say peeve instead of the other word, what's going to peeve me off more? If I just put up with it.
Right.
And then what I'm going to feel like as a result of putting up with it, or if I speak up for myself now. So that's weighing up the law of lesser peevers. Yeah. If you get what I'm saying.
No, I totally get what you're saying.
You are looking at, because quite often if it comes back onto you and you have, been the nice guy or the nice lady in this case, and you haven't spoken your truth, and as a result, it leaves people, it's almost like animals. Animals will take advantage. Children do. Children will test boundaries.
Of course they will. That's what they're there for.
And if they feel that they can push, they'll keep pushing. They'll keep pushing. They'll keep pushing until they find out how far they can go.
We all, in life, we need to know where our limits are, right? And if you don't push your limits, guess what? You'll never find them.
Yeah.
A lot of people live too far under the limit, and therefore they don't actually ever live a full life.
Yes.
They haven't experienced things. They don't allow themselves to, both the negative and the positive. If you don't allow yourself to love to the full extent, right? To be able to love to the full extent, you've also got to be able to hate to the full extent, or be indifferent to the full extent.
Yeah,
right.
It's biblical.
Yeah,
there's a time to laugh, there's a time to cry, there's a time to live, there's a time to die, and there's a time for peace, and there's a time for war, and it's true.
So true.
And and that's just the way that it is. So I know that I had a person in my community the other evening, and they had actually said to me a very similar story. And because they're going into the coaching field and they're wanting to, really bring out their genius zone, what we did was we turned this into their genius zone. Because guess what, Aaron? This is a really strange irony, and this is going to be good for those out there. You attract who you are. And you do. Oh yeah, you do. And especially in the coaching,
maybe in that space that makes sense.
Because look, even if not in a relationship, you will attract your shadow self and the people that are, put on this planet as a soul contract. I'm not going to go down that road, but anyway, to teach you a lesson. And whether that is a beautiful relationship that goes on for, till death do you part, or whether it worked out to being absolutely, the bomb, literally, like some of the ones we know about. Okay. So they were still your greatest teachers. They came and, you actually attracted them into your world.
Look, I wish you were wrong. Okay. Certainly from my point of view in my life, I wish that I had attracted different people, right? And that not across the board. And I don't mean that. I mean only specific people. But you've got to take ownership about the fact that of the people you attract and your actions and the way you go about yourself and how you do that. And mindset is a very, very important way of actually changing this. And NLP obviously enables you to do that. So it's kind of, you got to stop. I think and stop and assess yourself. Right. See where you're coming from. Seeing like. I make lots and lots of jokes about the fact, relationships and this and that and da-da-da-da-da, okay, because that's, quite frankly, it's part of my coping mechanism, right?
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, but it's also...
I didn't realise it was a coping mechanism. That tells me a lot, but I'm thinking about something else. But keep going, go on. That's really interesting.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, it's like laughter, right? Laughter is the best medicine, right? So if you're uncomfortable about something or something upsets you, whatever... Often it's a very positive thing to turn that into a joke, right?
Oh, that's a revelational moment for me to hear that. You know why? Because I was married to a man like that and he made a joke for everything. My father had a stroke and he was telling him about, the 3 nuns that reached out and the last one said I couldn't, she missed something about the stroking this man. So he was saying jokes on the same day my father had a stroke.
Sure.
So I'm like, don't you think it's a bit soon?
But that's his way, I'm gathering.
Well, that's what I just learned.
Yeah.
I learned that from you because, I'm like, why does he do that? Like, it's so freaking inappropriate, man. You know what I mean? And now I know. So thank you. Thank you for that incredible
I have my
piece of wisdom.
Yeah, we're all such complicated beasts, right?
We are.
We really are. But when you strip it all back and just get down to the basics, I think if you know who you are, you can rewrite your own future, right? You don't have to live in the past.
Exactly.
That's important to do. And that's what my advice and I mean, because you don't give advice, you basically, I think with NLP, what you do really accurately and really well, you hold the mirror up to someone and you go, okay, look at that mirror, and then go solve the problem yourself, right?
Yes.
But you are the mirror, and that's the beauty.
It's about the questions, So the power of the outcome is the power of the questions that are being asked. And that is something that I must admit that's a superpower that I have. And that's what I do in my podcasts. And, even people that run rings around me and have been around in the coaching space 30 years, and much longer than I have, it's amazing to watch them expand because we've all got something better than the next person. So there's no point being, like up yourself because at the end of the day, no matter what, even the rag man on the street, he will have or she will have something better than you.
Damn straight. Everybody's got a piece of wisdom, right?
Yes.
Everyone has. And it's a case of, are you going to tap into that?
Exactly.
Are you going to be there? And you know what? You've got 2 of these things, the old ears, one mouth. You can learn so much in life by just, quite frankly, shut up for a bit.
So what are we going to do on radio? Do we have to shut up? We're not allowed to have silence here,
No silence here at all.
I just want to say one more thing to Serena, if I may. Stop being a psychic, and this is the same for everyone. Now, was that advice? Maybe it's tongue-in-cheek.
Okay.
This is as far as I'll go with advice. So we all predict just about everything. Oh, that happened to me, so I'm always getting misused. I'm always getting mistreated, or I always pick the wrong person, or I always do this. This always happens to me. Because you are telling yourself that story, you're actually predicting it into your future, and that's what you're creating. So you've got to, whatever you tolerate, you'll get more of.
That's true. That is true. A quick hello and greetings to the wonderful Courage is a Cure. Great to see you drop by. A wonderful human being and just such great work. Now, I'm going to get to the other questions, if I may, that have come through. Let's talk to Chris. Now, Chris comes from New Zealand. Go, Chris.
I love that accent. Actually, that's how he says his name as well.
There you go. You do work with so many people all over the world. I mean, that's the great thing about what you do, actually, because you can do it online, which is great.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Now, go, Chris. So, I was just about to try the accent. No,
Sorry,
I'm not going to do it. I will stop now. No, laughing at me, because I've got a lot of Kiwi mates, and, you know, we talk about love language here. Yeah. One of my love languages is, as I have a lot of Kiwi mates, we love to pull the piss out of each other. That's who we are. That's how we
mateship.
Yep. That is proper friendship. So there we go. I want to succeed. Sorry, we had a very naughty person just popping into the studio there. So Chris wants to succeed in my coaching business, but struggle to attract clients. Any advice that actually works?
Okay.
Great point, because it actually works.
Okay. So you are your client. Now, I have only encountered one time that anyone has been able to answer this question adequately, but it was a bit of a mysterious call. Somebody approached me, and it wasn't you, Chris, because Chris is in my community. Okay. So, and they approached me and they said, can I be on your podcast? Wow. And I thought, well, I've arrived. Somebody has actually come to me and asked. Now, it was almost a too good to be true. And I kind of hope this character is going to watch this, because he is friends with me, right? But all the stuff that he said was so on point that it was fake. Look, sorry if you're listening, but it seemed fake. It seemed like he knew everything about me. Okay. It seemed like he was name dropping, and he hit every name that he could have possibly hit.
I've had this experience. They're called stalkers, Terry.
Okay. Or, you know, and it was like, but he name dropped the greatest people, I'm going to call them artists. In the NLP world, and even described people that, you know, we model, like Virginia Satua, and told me I had movements like her, if you don't mind. Well,
here's my little interruption here. If Chris is such a great scholar of this, obviously he observes really well, and he takes this information in well, then, mate, like, quite frankly, you keep doing that and you're going to be brilliant at what you do, right? Yeah. It's persistence. You have to keep going. It's the old story, right? It took me 25 years to become an overnight success, right? You just got to
Don't tell people that, but it is true.
25 years might be talking up a little bit. It's true. I mean, look, I think about myself in rallying. I look at other things that I've been successful at, some things I've failed at, whatever. But persistence has made the difference, right? Yeah. And you put in the work, you be persistent, you keep true to yourself. Because what you just told me about him, their skills.
That's not the stalker guy. That's not the guy. You called him the stalker. I'm not saying you're a stalker.
Oh God, no!
You were probably genuine, but it just seemed a little bit sus.
Oh anyway, sorry. No, you've misread what I meant. I was actually teasing you. That was actually not about Chris. I was actually joking. So sorry, I've said it a bit muddied. But essentially, if you are that good, mate, at picking up these things, geez, that's a helpful trait, right? It makes you just a natural born scholar for this sort of thing.
But see, so here's the thing. This person was so brilliant, and I would call them a confidence man. So brilliant at getting everything right about what they knew that I loved and what it was about, that this is the answer that he gave me, which I feel is going to inspire Chris. I asked him the question, who is your client? Who are you speaking to? Yeah. You know, I want to know that.
And what was Chris's answer?
And his answer, that's the big one. He said me. And you couldn't have got a better answer.
Yeah, I agree.
You could not have hit a better answer, and I swear this guy's going to be watching this, but you could not hit a better answer on the head if you could have tried. You know why? And Chris, this is what I'm going to tell you, because you are a genuine person. So the things that you're struggling with, the things that you're going through, and this is, I'm going to refer back to Aaron's thing about 25 years of experience. It is true. Success doesn't just come overnight, but it does happen.
Yeah.
But if you've got 25 years of experience in, bad relationships, then you've got the 25 years.
You've done your time.
You've done your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's really about recognizing that the client praying for you is actually the client who wants to know who you truly are. One more metaphor, and I'll make it quick, and that is that I have had more people come into my space since I've had a crisis, since the biggest crisis in my life, because being, I couldn't show up in an unauthentic way. So I, raised a TikTok account and I talked about it.
Yep.
People got to know who I really was.
Yeah.
And that's the long and short of it. People want to know you. They don't want to know all the fluff.
Your whole life has been an apprenticeship. Okay?
Yep.
That's really what it comes down to. So, no, thanks, mate, for that. And sorry if I thought it made it sound like you were the stalker completely. You read me completely wrong on that one.
Sorry.
It's all right. I'll let you off this time. A couple of great comments I will just bring in that have come onto the screen in the meantime. This is a comment from Courage is Secure.
Ooh.
I can't tolerate the government, but the silly people keep intruding. I love that. Well, yes, I can certainly I identify with that one.
Yes.
Right? I really
I wouldn't obviously, definitely, I think that's profound. So what do you say to a person like this? Well, we want to change the system. Obviously you want to change the system, right? Yep. So this is where, I'm bucking the system at the moment. I'm a bucker of systems.
You're a complete bucker.
And that's just what I do. I'm a nonconformist.
True.
And I know that I am going against a system at the moment. And I'm drawing attention. But do you know what I've had to say? When your passion rises higher than what you care about, what people think about you, let me tell you, you'll be hard-pressed to slow down or, because it's what you believe. If you believe, and obviously a person like that is not agreeing with the system.
Agreed.
There is something that's putting a fire in your belly. And I love that. So go for it.
All bellies should be on fire as far as I'm concerned. That's how I want to live my life. I think we get one crack at it that we know of, right? So let's live it to the max. Let's have everything. Let's go flying backwards into hell or heaven, wherever you end up, in that Lamborghini with that supermodel on fire. Let's do it, right? Like live it properly.
I like that.
Now, another comment, and I do thank Courage Secure for this one as well. We can be persistent but not consistent. Great point. Right, it's so true. Consistency is such a massive part of it. So how much do you think that matters for success? I think I just answered that from my point of view. But
how much do you think that matters for success?
Now this Courage Secure is asking for a friend.
Not consistent. Asking for a friend. We can be persistent but not consistent. I have a little saying in my community, but remembering I'm teaching transformation and acquisition. So I say to them that content is king and consistency is queen. But geez, that's a hard one. That, the consistency, girlfriend, is so hard.
It's a tough bit.
Do you want to come on my podcast? Perhaps DM me. The fact is that we can open that up. And how much do you think that matters for success? Consistency, this is not an NLP advice thing, so disclaimer here. According to what I've been trained and learned, consistency is queen. Consistency is going to be the element, and it doesn't mean you have to be consistent with everything. It's consistent in what you want to get right. Okay. So, for example, my life, I've had to move into consistency, Aaron, but do you know why? Because I've had to. Right. Because I've got someone who is in, care facility, and I have very important things. So I have to consistently structure my life. And so you can't just get up in the morning and have a to-do list that's 15 miles long. You hear about that all the time, right? You've got to have about 2 or 3 things that are non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
That's the one.
Yep.
So if you've got non-negotiables, this has to happen, this has to happen, you're not going to get blown around like a feather in the wind.
Not at all. Okay.
You're not going to be the drifter.
We've got one more question, and then, we're
out of here.
We're sneaking in because I think it's important to answer as many as we possibly can. So this one is from Riley in South Australia. Lovely to have you on board, and I hope we can help you out on this one. I've had depression for 5 years. Counselling hasn't helped. Can NLP or hypnosis really shift this?
Are you wanting to really shift this? And that would be my first question to you, Riley. And, I must admit that I have been especially during my transformative years where I was in clinic and I was there as a hypnotherapist to treat people with addiction and, suicidal and all sorts of things.
Right.
And the fact is that when we can tackle at a subconscious level. You see, now, firstly, don't hear me disrespecting counsellors because, I've got a lot of counsellors in my community and I have a lot of respect, and I even have been to counsellors before. There is a time and a place for counselling, because you've got to process things, you've got to do things, and they can do things that I cannot do. Now, once a person, and you're in a prime position here, Riley, once a person has gone through all of those elements and then, regardless of whether you feel like it worked or it didn't work, the fact is that you would have gained something out of it. You are ready then to shift your crisis at a subconscious level. But I was just going to say something funny. I'm so glad you brought that question up, and that is the fecal transplant. Okay, can I just open this up? Because this has got nothing to do with anything that I'm doing, but I was watching it on Australian Story last night. A man who was on a crusade to he fell in love with his client. I know that's not probably a good thing to do, but he was her carer and fell in love with her, but she was deeply depressed and she was manic and she was bipolar. And, the sort of things that Richard Bandler would say to people like that is, you're very stylistic at that, aren't you? And make them understand that it's not them, it's something they can do really well. You're really good at that, aren't you?
Well, you're flipping it, aren't you? You're turning it from negative to a positive.
So that's a belief change right in itself. So yes, I believe so. If you're asking me in a nutshell, go watch that fecal transplant. I mean, that was gross. But he actually went on a crusade and he resolved that woman's problem and she lives the happiest, amazing life today. In saying that, my question in that is it a subconscious belief that she created? In other words, what the medics would call placebo. So, when a placebo, when, I'm going to give you the magic pill. And when you swallow this, oh my gosh, you are going to come to life. Oh my, you're going to walk out and you're going to attract that person of your dreams.
Oh, the way you described it, I thought it was going to be something that was a nightclub. But okay, it's a different thing. You are going to be a magnet. You are going to be a magnet for every good thing. But you don't want to swallow it too fast now. And I mean, chances are, some people may be able to believe that so much. Some people may not. However, if you believe something, this is doing a full circle now on the belief that if you believe something so much, the chances is it will probably come true. But you know what? What you need to do is stop being a psychic, Riley. When I say a psychic, stop predicting your life every day based on just because, as my husband used to say to me, if he did something wrong, he'd hit me and say, it's in the past. Boom, gone. So every new second is a new now.
every new second is a new now.
Yeah.
So anything behind you is in the past. So just because it's in the past, do not put it into the future. And because you put it into the future by reminiscing and believing it and thinking about it and then attracting it to yourself.
There's a lot in there. There's a lot. And by the way, there's a lot of messages coming from all sorts of destinations we can't see. So I'll tell you right now, during the week, I've got the little sign that just came up telling me there's messages coming from other places. So during the week, we're going to have some fun, I think. I hate to tell you this. We've got to get out of here.
Oh, really? Where are we going to go?
They're going to turn the lights. I reckon the pub. That's what I think.
Ooh,
but
okay.
no, I'm only joking about that. Coming up very soon. Fantastic. It was speaking of counselling. Okay, Mauro Davidi is coming up very, very soon with his show, so that'll be up not too distant future. So yeah, don't miss it on that. Because I think there is places for all of this.
He's amazing.
He really is. And great counselling is really important. And NLP is really, they're both different techniques of getting, the results. Unbelievable. Yep. This is about the results, right? So, you might find a psychologist or a counsellor or whatever, but they're just not the right fit for you.
Yes, exactly.
But you find the person and the modality that fits you and suits you, then you're on your way. Yeah, simple as that. So thank you very, very much. And to the lovely Courage and Secure, thank you so much for your comments through there. And earlier, Martine as well, and all of the people. I could flick all the way through, but I won't. There's a few to go through.
There is a lot, isn't there?
There is a lot there, and a lot we can't see. So it's going to be very interesting.
Might have to bring this subject up again sometime.
We might, but not tonight. We are out of here. Thank you very much for being part of the show. And, of course, if you want to catch the replay, it is playing on Sunday at
3 p.m. Reheat the pizza.
That's right. Happening on Sunday. Basically, you can go on to edgeradioaustralia.com, listen away and enjoy. But for now, we are out of here. It's Edge Radio Australia. Thanks for being part of the Genius Zone.